Hi everybody, it's Talia from the Climbing Tree. Today I have a very exciting video to share with you today because I am pregnant. Hooray! Today I am 16 weeks pregnant, so definitely moving along, getting toward that halfway mark, and definitely out of the first trimester worries. So yeah, we're pretty excited. This will be baby number 4 for us. We'll actually have a pretty decent age gap between Ahava and this baby. So previously our kids have been like 2 years apart, 2 years between Leo and Ellie, 2 years between Ellie and Ahava, and then between Ahava and this baby we'll have like 3 3/4 years. So a bit of a bigger difference, but a necessary age difference. I think in stepping up to 4 kids from 3 kids is, I think, going to be a big deal, and I definitely have needed time to recover and to feel good and healthier and things like this after having 3 kids in such close succession. Of course, some people have kids even closer than that, and I can't even imagine, to be honest. Like, this was close enough. And if I did my time again, maybe I would have had bigger age gaps between each of them, but on the other hand, they're good friends, and it didn't so much seem like a big deal at the time. Anyway, let me give you a super quick recap of how the first trimester was. So because we weren't telling the kids about the pregnancy, we also weren't telling anybody else about the pregnancy, and in general I just had to carry on as normal. And Baruch Hashem, that was just very, very possible. I've definitely had pregnancies where, particularly like with Ellie, it was a really, really rough pregnancy. I threw up a lot and I felt constantly sick, and I was exhausted. Like, I was going to bed at 6:30 at night and not waking up till 9 at the earliest, sort of thing. And this continued not just through the first trimester but further. And even with Ahava, I was completely exhausted. I had a lot of strong food aversions, and I didn't throw up or be sick too much. That's generally not my my thing in pregnancy. But I still didn't feel great, and I was still definitely pregnant, and needed to tell people who are around me that this was the reason why I couldn't do things. But with this pregnancy, it was incredibly easy to not tell anybody, because I feel like I just acted pretty normally when we saw people. I was definitely tired and definitely slept a lot more, but sometimes that does happen to me anyway when my iron or my thyroid is not quite right. So that wasn't a big deal or a big tell. And yeah, I will see if I can get permission from Leo to put in the video of him finding out about the baby. But because it is just so beautiful, the kids were so excited. Really, they had been asking us to have another baby for over a year. Since that last miscarriage that we had, they've just been super asking. And actually, the day that I had my 12-week ultrasound, I'd taken the boys to school. Ahava and I were walking back, and she was just really like, "Mum, can you please have a baby? I just want to look after it. I'll be so good. I promise I'll look after it for you." All this kind of stuff. I was just like, oh gosh, we'll just wait and see, And then I had the ultrasound, and so then I could come home and say to her, well, you know how you asked Mummy if you know she could have another baby? Well, there is a baby inside me, and so we will get to meet it soon. And she was just like over the moon. She was so excited. So that was good. I didn't film that at all. But then I'd taken a picture of the ultrasound and printed it out in a card and written a little letter to all the kids together, just to say, hi, I'm your baby brother or sister and I can't wait to meet you, and all this kind of stuff. And so they were really excited about that. And they continue to be excited about that. So that was 13 weeks that I told them. And then we can go on to tell our family. Basically, I was 13 weeks just after Passover finished. And so this was another reason that I was so super duper grateful that I didn't feel too sick, because Passover prep is hardcore, like so much cleaning, so intense, so much mental and spiritual preparation, so much cooking, so much like clearing out of your house and your kitchen and all this kind of stuff, that if I were really sick, or if I were just of the level of pregnancy that I had been with the previous two, I just wouldn't have been able to do that. Like, I don't know what would have happened. But thankfully, I survived that process because I felt so well. Really, I stopped feeling that sort of nausea at 8 weeks, and I was just felt really quite normal again. So that was a huge blessing. I was able to do the work I had to do and do the Passover stuff I had to do without too much drama. It meant that we actually saw quite a lot of family that sort of both weekends of Passover, and couldn't really tell anybody in person because we hadn't told the kids yet, and they hadn't had this scan to check, and we possibly wouldn't have told people. I'm not really sure if we had have miscarried. Anyway, so I feel like it was kind of a missed opportunity. I tried to get the scan done before Passover, but they were very whatever about it. And because it was Easter weekend as well, it was really, there were a lot of public holidays, and so it was quite busy and booked out. And so that was disappointing to not be able to sort of tell people in person, but still we just told people, texted people, told them over the phone, whatever, and that was fine, I guess. And yeah, so that's basically the first trimester summed up, with nothing much to report, except that I'm incredibly grateful and really do feel Hashem's provision in this process, because it would have been really, really difficult. And I do feel like this baby is from Hashem. I don't know, like, I don't want to say that some babies are and some babies aren't, but I just feel like this baby is meant to join us. I've always sort of had this feeling, even if we're like out at the playground and things like this, and I'm like counting up my kids to go home, 1, 2, 3, be like, oh, right, you know, that is everyone. Yes, Lior, yes, Ellie, yes, Ahava. And I just have this feeling like someone is missing, but can't really quite place it, but have to tell myself, no, this is all my kids. This is right. This is fine. Logically, in my head, I think, why on earth would I want to have another baby? Because there's so much work and they're so hard, and my children never sleep. Where Ahava sleeps now, but she's 3.5, you know, or three and a bit. So I just felt rationally like, oh gosh, I don't really want to do this. We've like really passed all of this stuff. Toilet trained, sleeping good, all of this sort of thing. Why would I want to go back to the beginning? But on the other hand, really had this feeling like, someone is missing, and, you know, we should meet this person. So in the end, I guess because of all the health stuff and the complications with all that thing, this wasn't really our choice in the end. Like, we had to just accept like our fate and whatever would happen. And yeah, I'm definitely at this point really happy that we have this baby on the way and that this is happening. When I first found out I was pregnant, I have to be honest, I was a little bit like, oh gosh, okay, this is really happening. I hope that I hope that this will be okay. But I'm feeling good about it now. I think at some point you have to just make that choice and say, you know what, there could be really tough things that happen with this, and maybe my life would be easier in some other way, but this is what's happening, and I'm going to be positive about this and looking forward to it. So that's the choice I've made. And so that's, yeah, first trimester done, initial thoughts on the baby done. Now I'll give you a quick update on how like weeks 12 to 16 went. So I had an appointment with my midwife at 13 weeks, and actually before then, so I'd seen my doctor really early because I was on this other medication and stuff like this. For me, I always find it's important to go see the doctor really, within a week of finding out that I'm pregnant, just so that I can make sure that I'm taking the right amounts of things and whatnot. And in this case, to find out that I was pregnant. And yeah, so I'd done that. She'd referred me to the hospital, so I also had my booking in appointment with the hospital at like 12 weeks and 4 days, which was also just like 2 days before Passover, and it was crazy, but whatever, we got it done. And I elected for GP shared care, which means that I'm not going to really go back and talk to the hospital until 34 or 36 weeks, something like that. So that'll be really good. And I meant to just be seeing my GP for all of my appointments up until then, but that's not what I'm doing. I am hiring a private midwife to do all of my antenatal and birth care. And the reason I do that is because I think that that's the best way to have antenatal and birth care, and it's something that I'm really willing to spend the money on because it's important to me. And I have had amazing birth experiences with a private midwife and really crap experiences doing it on my own in the hospital. So all my other children are born in the hospital. I had my midwife come with me while I labour at home, and then we've transferred to the hospital. Probably will do a home birth this time, and so I don't feel nauseous at all in the day, and I definitely don't really throw up. But I do sort of have a really shallow gag reflex, and so I do kind of gag and like dry reach, kind of still do that really frequently, like a couple of times a day. And I don't know how to sort of stop that from happening. Other than it being a terrible sound, it's just not particularly inconvenient or cause any difficulty or pain or anything like that. So I guess it's just one of those things. In the last week, I would definitely say now that I can feel baby movements, and I don't say that lightly. One of my pet peeves in early pregnancy is people saying that they can feel baby movements when there's just no way that you possibly could. So definitely when I was like 8 and 9 weeks, I felt a lot of that uterus stretching, and I can see why people would think, oh, maybe I can feel a movement, particularly if it's like the first time or the second time that they're having a baby. But it's just organs of your body stretching. At that stage, your baby's like the size of a pea or a blueberry or whatever. Like, there's no way you can feel them moving. But in this Last week the baby is like the size of a pear, and that's like rumped ahead. It has like little legs off of the pear, so you can see like that's a decent sort of size, and you can imagine that you can feel those movements. I don't think I've ever would say before this pregnancy that I could feel them this early, like in the 15 weeks, 15 weeks, 3 days, 4 days, whatever, that kind of week. But this time I feel like I've done this a couple of times now, and I'm sure that that's what I can feel. And it's the timing of it too. Sometimes it happens like the other night. I slept through the night, the whole night. It was amazing. In the morning when I went to the toilet, I just did the biggest pee you could possibly imagine. Like it just kept going and going and going. My bladder was really, really full. And then after I finished, I felt like, then I just felt like this little do-do-do-do-do, you know, kind of feeling. And I feel like that was in my head. I imagined the baby like, oh, I have some space again, and it could like kick out a little bit. But yeah, just, I mean, this is, I'm talking about maybe in the last week I felt maybe 4 little movements. So it's not frequent at all. It's just a few little things, and possibly if I wasn't concentrating and I didn't know exactly what I was waiting to feel, I wouldn't even know. I'm sure like with Leo, I didn't feel any movements until like 18 or 19 weeks or something like this. So yeah, I'm grateful to feel those movements, because it is still really, you know, this time between when you have your scan at the end of the first trimester and when you start to feel movements is a really nervous time, because you just have to assume that everything's fine and that you're pregnant. And it is reassuring to like feel those little movements. And I mean, makes it very real. Definitely for me, I've seen a huge increase in my kind of awareness of the baby and my love for the baby, even because I can feel those sort of movements. It's kind of like this reminder, oh look, I'm here mum, I'm here. So that's kind of sweet. That's probably the most exciting news. I hope to next week go see my midwife again. I have to book that in, and then I can get a scan referral to get the 18 to 20 week scan, and we will hopefully find out the gender. I tried to find out the gender with Harper and Ellie, and both of them had their legs closed, and there was just no way we could see if they were boys or girls. So that kind of sucks. And so that's why I'm a bit hesitant to say we're going to definitely find out the gender, because I feel like it's not always that simple. I would really like to find out the gender. We have a couple of friends who have offered us clothes and different stuff like this, and it would just be nice to know, oh yes, we are having a girl, we can take those clothes, or no, yes, we are having a boy, we'll take these other things. I mean, a lot of newborn baby things are really gender neutral anyway, but I feel like it would be nice for those friends to know that they can keep clothes for us, you know, as their kids get older as well. And I think just for our family this time round, we've had lots of surprises. It would be nice to know now if it's a boy or a girl, and would help us with our name picking, obviously. And I think it would just help for the kids as well if we could start talking about the baby as a specific gender, because there's a lot of speculation going on in our family, and a lot of like hands on mummy's belly to like feel what could the baby be, and then a lot of people changing their minds all the time. One day it's a boy, one day it's a girl. Everyone has different opinions. Harper really wants a girl, which I can appreciate. I am the eldest of 3. I have 3 brothers, like I'm the eldest of 4, and I desperately wanted a girl. And when my youngest brother was born, I turned 6 like the week before, and I guess my parents hadn't ever found out if it was a boy or a girl. And when my dad came back from the hospital, we were staying at my nana and papa's, and told us, you know, the baby was born and it's a boy, and I actually cried. I was so upset because I really wanted a sister. And so I can appreciate for Ahava that she really wants a sister, and if it isn't a sister, I think the boys will be pretty stoked. Hi guys, Evelyn Talia here. I'm not sure what happened to the end of the video, but I think I was just blabbering on about the gender, and in the end saying that it didn't really matter if it was a boy or a girl, that I'm sure that we're super excited to have a healthy baby. And for me personally, because I have boys and I have a girl, we don't feel any pressure to want to have either gender. So yeah, we're hopefully, God willing, we'll find out, and I'm not sure if we'll let you know or not, actually. But I think that's all I was talking about in that part of the video, and that sort of sums up this first 16 weeks of pregnancy. And I'm very, very grateful that it has been so easy. If you have any questions about this, about pregnancy, or how this relates to other aspects of our life or our family, or anything like that, feel free to ask them. I'm pretty open book about it, and yeah, would love to have you, leave a like and subscribe if you're interested in a bit more baby content. But hopefully I'll just have vlogs about other things as well. So yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.